recording, and I need to show screen 2. Do you see my Windows screen?
I don't.
Nothing showing. Okay, so the goal today is to push as far as we can to getting getting core route data ready for upload to the routes catalog, at least the test version of HPMS. Is that consistent with what you guys are expecting to do today, or?
Yes.
Okay. I sort of inferred that that's what you were trying to do based on the questions you were asking me through, during the course of the kind of break time. Was I right about that, Quinn?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Well then, so let me just kind of start, before I start launching software and looking at data and all that, just kind of start at a high level. And say that we're in this year's submittal, and hopefully it'll be different next year, but in this year's submittal, the source of our data is going to be different for on-system versus off-system. The on-system data, the on-system route data is going to be sourced from the GIS unit, and they have provided the on-system routes as a shapefile. Now, the off-system data is going to be sourced from all roads routes delivered by the GIC, the folks at the CSUs, back in August. And so, fundamentally, what we need to do is take the all roads data and filter out the on-system routes so that we're not submitting those on-system routes more than once. And then provide both submittals to HPMS. What will realistically happen when you load those files, especially the off-system file, up to HPMS? What will realistically happen is that HPMS will kick back a series of validation errors to the routes data that need to be addressed. And I would say you should expect, I would suggest that you expect to spend some time over the course of the next week or two looking at the errors. Well, I mean, after we upload data, expect to spend some time addressing those errors, which are mostly going to be geometry errors, in your source data so that you can re-upload. And I'm guessing you're going to want to use the HPMS test system your first few times around. Does that all make sense?
Can you tell me what kind of error is it?
Well, I can tell you what I experienced last year.
Okay.
The errors that we saw last year usually had to do with like really low-level things, like duplicate vertices within a geometry. There were some cases where a spur was the way that the report came back was that a particular route has a duplicate or overlapping measure within it, so you'll have one route where there's more than one location that has between, let's just say, for example, 5 and 10. Things like that.
Okay.
And again, it'll tell you what route's the problem. In some cases, it gives you even more specific information than just what route it is. It tells you like where on the route, and then you just go there and you knock them out one by one. I did this more or less on my own last year, and it took me, it took me about a day or two of concentrated time to resolve all those little issues so that it would upload. And the reality also is that you'll get lots of warnings that you can, but they're not showstoppers. They're not like errors that actually prevent the upload of a route. So those are, for the most part, you can just ignore the warnings. Okay. So one other thing that was apparently was news to Quinn a few weeks ago is that the August 2015 data that you have available to you in Oracle, it's a snapshot of the CSU's delivery from back in August. I mean, it's even named as such, right, with the August 2015 thing on it. What it is not is the final deployment of that data for you to work with. It's really just there so that you can see the deliverable provided by the CSUs. The system design that I provided to you guys back in October and November specifies a specific data model, which is different than what is in that database that's available to you on site right now. And while the content within the content within the database will be based on that August data, the actual structure of the database will be different. So there'll be different column headings and stuff like that within the system. So so I just wanted to point that out because what I'm going to be working, or what I am working from here, is actually something that's much closer to what's going to be deployed on your system, hopefully in a few weeks now. I actually have Oracle running on my machine right now, and it's all deployed in a manner that's pretty similar to what you're going to be seeing. So let's start with the easy stuff. Let's start with the on-system routes. On-system routes, these are they as a shapefile provided by GIS Unit. Just well, look at that, on the day before Christmas. So let's just start by just opening up that data and looking at it.
So which one is the one that delivered on May?
So I don't know if you've worked with shapefiles before, but all of these files together, from here to here, are actually like what are together called a shapefile. So this is the one. This is it. This is everything you need to have what is generally called a shapefile. And I mean, I don't even. There's some reason why they call it May. I mean, you can see it's even built into the name of the file, 05/12/2015. So May 12th, 2015. I don't know why they call it that, because I know for a fact that they were editing this data until the day before Christmas. So, but it has obviously it has some significance to you guys. It's May data, but it's also not May data. It's changed since then. So does that answer your question, Quinn?
Yes, because I kind of confused between May and December. So which one is which? Yeah,
me too. Me too. I keep on hearing you guys refer to it as May data, and I'm like, dude, this isn't May data. This is delivered in December, not May. So all I can say is you'd have to ask somebody more knowledgeable than me to know why it makes sense to call it May. Okay, so let's navigate to that. All right, 2016 submittal support. All right, and this is it. This is what they delivered to me. This is the on-system data delivered to me in a raw form. And I just want to point out, if we zoom in on any one of these routes, you'll see that they're represented with dual carriageways. And if we look at attributes behind these data, you'll see that it includes both left and right alignment.
Okay.
So any thoughts on what's the first thing we need to do to this data to get it ready for submittal?
Is it the one that GIS sent it to you?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a table that has the post-mine values that come with it, or it's just odometer? No?
Just odometer. Well, so this isn't a table. This is a table view of the shapefile. What we're looking at right now is a table view of the shapefile. So this is each one of these is one route.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess, who's on the line? Is it just Quinn on the line? Are there any of the, let's see, how about her? I think Harinder is, and Brian might be on it. Okay, well, the reason I'm asking is because the guys that I'm trying to prompt some of the folks that were part of the process last year, and I guess none of you are there. So what I'm getting at is this: is that with HPMS submittal, everything is assumed. There's only one center line per route. So so what that means is that you can only use the either the right or the left alignment of every individual route. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Otherwise, you'll be double counting. So so Hip or Aaron, how would you go about filtering the data in here to only include either the right alignment?
Selection set, and then filter out if we go with the right alignment, then we just do the right alignment to the left alignment, maybe another, I would say, subset of this file.
I'm sorry, say that again. I didn't quite hear you.
We create another shape file that include only either the left alignment or right alignment.
Yeah, that's right. So do you know how to do that?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, cool, good.
I think we
all right.
You know.
So the way I'm going to do it is like this. I'm going to go to properties of this guy, make a definition query, and say where alignment equals right. And by the way, we used right alignment last year. That's what Brian told me to use. So as you can see, it just removes. Now we've only got a single center line for each route. Make sense?
Yes. Is that all dual carriageway?
Yeah, it is. In the on-system data, in this flavor of the on-system data, it is all dual carriageway. Yes.
Okay.
There are some cases, there are actually quite a few cases, where the two carriageways literally lie right on top of each other, which means that you can't see them on the map. But you should know that there's duplicate line work there, and so by applying that filter I just applied, we get both. So all right, I'm gonna export this. And I'm going to export it to, oops. I'm just going to export it to a place that makes sense for me. Bear with me here. New folder, there we go. Work data. So I'm going to call this on system R for on system right.
You do the
Oh, great.
GDB file. Not, oh, okay. There we go. I was about to ask you that.
Yeah. Sure, we'll add this to the map. So I'm going to remove this original one now. Huh, where is it? Oh, I made a mistake. Sorry. Sorry, guys, let me do that again. There it is. Properties. Alignment equals. Right. Okay. Lie. Okay. You guys, Aaron, you probably know what I did. I must have only included features within the view or something. Export data. All features. Yeah, all features. Yes. There we go. There we go. Okay, so just for kicks now, if we look at the attribute table of this guy, you'll see that everything is where alignment is right. And there's half as many records in this as there were in the flavor of the data that had both.
I think just one. Can I say something? I think for the
say again.
For this, can I say something? I think for this shapefile is different from the geomedia file. This one is one route is one record. Am I correct?
Yeah, you're right.
For a record, there's no measure, LS measure associated with that. As in the geomedia, you have the route record by LS measure, and with multiple records. So this
right.
In RGS is slightly different. The route.
Yeah, you're right.
RGS is different from the route that we use in the geomedia.
Do you know? I'm glad you brought that up. This is Aaron, right?
Yeah, this is Aaron.
So do you know that's a wonderful observation. Do you know how ESRI how that's handled in a shapefile or in basically any ESRI data?
I mean that's in the property of the line where you have the vertex and with the the Z with the M measure.
Yeah, right.
You can get that from the M measure.
That's right. Do you want to look at that together? Do you think that would be helpful to everybody?
No, if it's not relevant to this, then we don't have to. If it's relevant to this,
what you know, it's relevant to the extent that you guys, it will behoove you guys to understand the LRS data model for both GeoMedia and ArcGIS, because it's inevitable that you're going to be working in both environments. And understanding the data model in both is going to allow you to transform data that works between both. Yeah, but the fact that you recognize that is huge. Let me just, it's not, I would say it's a tangent, but let me just quickly do what Aaron was just saying here. I'll make it fast. So again, like in GeoMedia data, you know, we can see the measures exposed as attributes, but they're not here. But you can tell they do exist in the geometry itself by the fact that it has this M thing here. It says polyline M. So, and the actual M's are visible. This is how I know to make them visible. There might be a better way, but this is how I do it. Go to Editor, start editing. And I'm just going to arbitrarily select this route, and I think go to Edit Vertices? No, then Sketch Properties. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
There's where the M's are. So in order to do, the bottom line is this, is that in order to do dynamic segmentation on LRS data within ArcGIS, the LRS has to be calibrated this way, with the M values stored within the vertices. In the case of GeoMedia, just like you said, Aaron, the M values are stored as exposed attributes. That's interesting how all of these have the same exact X. All right, whatever. I'm not going to strain myself over that. All right. What's next? So you know, maybe it's good enough to say, I mean, you guys tell me, you guys are the HPMS experts. Is there any other processing that is required to do? Like, is there anything else? What are any other requirements that we have to make sure this route data meets in order to upload it to HPMS? I've only accounted for one thing that I know, the one thing I know about, which is that every route should only have one carriageway.
I think we have to take out the paper roads as well.
Paper roads?
Yes.
Okay, how would we identify paper roads?
I think the route ID is come with the surface X. Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, because I think Brian knows about this more than I do.
This is my question, Adam. This is it.
Yeah, sure.
For the, say this is the on-state system, like what happened to the attribute that belong to the on-state when it doesn't have the LRS measure? Like when we update the attribute event, how does that know that where to link it up to? Because this route doesn't have the LRS measure. Like I didn't process the data last year, so I'm just asking. The on system right here.
So this does have the LRS measure. It's just the LRS measures are inside of the vertices.
Okay. Okay.
They're not exposed as attributes. They're buried in the vertices of the line.
Yeah, that's the inconvenience that you don't see.
Am I answering the right question, Aaron?
Yeah, you answered. That's right.
It was him. It was not me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, actually, I'm asking you, Aaron, because I know you understand the answer that I gave, but I want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding Hip's question.
Right. I think the inconvenience compared to GeoMedia is you don't see the LS measure of every route in one table. The other one.
So, Adam, I
Yeah.
understand your answer. So, is it possible to convert this shapefile into GeoMedia and show all the LS?
Yes.
Is it possible?
It's
So,
possible,
is there any way
yeah.
we can? Is it possible for you to show us that? Because I think it's better if we combine both. Take out all these on system inside the GeoMedia right now, and convert all this shapefile right here back to GeoMedia. So make it one file that has everything.
Okay.
I mean, is it gonna take long? Just ask
Yes, that'll take long. I'm currently working on a project to do just that. Kind of as essentially as staff augmentation to the GIS unit. For the purpose of what you need to accomplish for HPMS submittal, though, it's completely unnecessary.
Okay.
And I'll just say that, I mean, in theory, it's a simple thing to do. I mean, all you have to do is split apart all the routes so they're separate segments at each anchor point, or I'll just say for simplicity's sake, at each vertex. And then put the appropriate beginning or end measure on each individual route segment. Fundamentally that's what you do.
Okay.
But
it's just
yeah. Okay. So ideally, well, not ideally. Next year you will be getting all of this data just out of Oracle using GeoMedia, and it'll all be the same.
Okay. Okay.
But,
thank you.
Sure. So let's go back to Quinn's point, though, about paper routes or paper roads or
yes.
something.
Can you hear me at all?
Oh, I heard a little something back there.
Oh, you can hear me, huh? It's Brian.
I can now. I heard you, Brian. Go ahead.
I didn't think I had a microphone here at all. I don't know. You might ask the GIS unit if they know of paper roads that they included, or what. It depends on what their source of the information was. If they got it from a TASIS clean road file, the paper roads are in there.
I know that the TASIS group send the clean road file to GIS group, and GIS group that come up with the on-system route.
Okay, well, then, all right.
It look like they put everything inside of this this file.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's looking like. Okay, you know, you're not really. I guess you're not really going to have a problem if you include that in the routes catalog, because in the sections catalog, we would have paper roads. We don't, okay, but we could. They would be, they would be flagged as paper roads. The facility type would be a 7, okay. They would all show up that way. So those paper roads could then create geometries with the routes catalog, and that wouldn't be a problem. There's nothing wrong with having paper roads in the routes catalog. It's also not a big problem if you omitted the paper roads from the routes catalog, because even if we have them in the sections catalog, we don't, but even if we did, what would happen is it wouldn't create geometry where we didn't have it in the routes catalog, okay? So So I
So that
I
that
think
we
that,
don't have to. I'm sorry. So that's that we don't have to worry about the paper road in this route on system
no,
route, correct?
no, I don't think we have to. Okay. As
Okay.
kind of a sidelight, though, we do have to worry about paper roads, but it's kind of an issue for TASIS right now. Okay, if you read the field manual, it tells us we're supposed to include paper roads wherever they happen to be part of the State Transportation Improvement Plan. That is the STIP. Okay, if they're part of the STIP, then we are supposed to include them. If they're not, and I know perfectly well that many of the paper roads that are in TASIS are not part of the STIP. They're, they're too far advanced, and a lot of them probably never are going to get built. Okay, but that's something that needs to be sorted out, and I think it might fall on TASIS to do that. Okay, if not, it'll fall on HPMS, but we're
Okay.
supposed to include paper roads that are on the STIP.
Brian, I think we know what we need to know.
Okay.
We're good.
Okay.
Thank you. So if I could if I could of course get on my little make my own little speech. I just want to make the point that it's good practice to even though it's not a requirement from an HPMS perspective, I would suggest that it's good practice to reduce your routes catalog to the extent you possibly can. So what I'm trying to say is remove as much cruft, as much unnecessary stuff from your routes catalog as you can, because the reality is that in the future, you're going to be building event data from your routes, just like in the exercises that we've done in the past. And if you have what you might put yourself in a position to be creating event data for, say, for example, functional class on a paper road, if it is included in your routes catalog. It just removes overhead and considerations. The more you can reduce your routes catalog to only be what you actually need, the better. But that said, I honestly, even if we needed to remove paper roads, I'm not sure we could, because there's no information in this data set to tell us what is and isn't a paper road. So good question. Is there? So that said, now that we've covered the paper road subject, is there anything else that we need to consider? I have a faint memory from last year of modifying the route IDs. I'm not sure if that's truly necessary or not, though. I think that I modified the route IDs within this file as it existed last year to be consistent with the state highway system route IDs from the all roads. But I'm pretty sure that's unnecessary. Brian, do you have any recollection on that?
We do have to modify the route IDs from what's shown here in this attribute table. Okay, they're supposed to begin with an uppercase SHS and an underbar, okay, and then the route number, and in some cases they have a suffix. Okay, that's what we have in the sections catalog. Okay, otherwise what we have to do is we have to change every one of them in the sections catalog, because they're supposed to agree with each other. That's how you create geometries in the version 8 software. The route IDs have to match.
Yeah, but if we provide sections that are sourced from TSN for on-system data, which is where all the on-system sections come from, they will already match what we have here, right? And that really is a question. I'm just not sure.
Yeah. Okay. We were using a stand. I mean, we did have it standardized that way. That state routes would begin with SHS underbar. It is very helpful in doing queries and whatnot with the V8 to have that, because then we can easily distinguish which ones are state routes, and we don't, I mean, without having to, that is, without having to do a spatial intersect type of query. You know, we did have that. I mean, we did have some standards for route IDs, and that's what we had for the state highway system. You know, unless there's some good reason to change it now.
Well, okay. All I care about is that the route IDs that we upload to HPMS in the routes catalog are consistent with the route IDs that we upload to HPMS for the sections. So
yeah, that's what matters.
That's what matters. I had a brief communication with Quinn today about getting some example section data to work with. The best we could come up with is to use the through lanes data from last year. So I'm just going to open up this file real quick and see what the route IDs look like in here, because this is an example of section data. And oh, look at that! You're right. You're right, Brian.
Yes, and we need this to do the spatial intersect in VA as well. Like sometimes we just want to have the state highway only, so we can just filter the name, you know. So we just get the state highway only. So it's necessary for us to put it in.
Okay. So are you guys certain that TSN will give you all of your section data for on-system stuff meeting this format for route ID?
No, we have to reformat the spreadsheet that they sent it to us.
Huh.
Yeah. Like for the route ID, the file they sent it to us just like 3 letters of the route number, and that's it. So we have to like add the SHS underbar with the route ID number.
That's a stinker. Okay. Well, fine. So be it. Then that means the next thing that has to be done to get this ready is to add another column to this shapefile and reformat all these route IDs to be consistent. So we can approach that in one of 2 ways. I mean, you can watch me do it right here, right now, and I'll be kind of just, you know, using either database or Excel trickery to get it done as quickly as I can. Or I can do it offline of, you know, having everybody sitting here watching me do it, or you guys can do it in any way that suits you.
What do you think happened, Aaron?
What's that?
I mean, we can certainly do it. I mean, if I believe it's all the stuff, I'm not sure. I can do it. I mean, that I have to say, but I'm not sure if I have availability.
Okay, so if we can do it quickly, can we just go ahead and do it then? Because later on we're going to upload it to VA, right?
Yeah. Okay. Let's time box it. Or if I feel like I'm running into a brick wall, let's just. I don't. You know, sometimes I get gun shy having everybody watch me. I'll do my best here. All right.
Hey, Adam.
Okay. So, by the way, just want to let you know that the route ID, the naming convention is going to be SHS underbar and the 3 digits of the route. So we don't include the surface of the route ID. So you see all the R, we don't need it in the route ID.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We're going to be using the route, the data field next to route ID to the right. That'll be the one that we're using, right, Adam?
Yeah. think so.
That's the one, and then okay, anyone.
You know, what about these?
Wow.
You?
Yeah, that means something. And like 905 U, that means something.
Yeah,
I don't
yes, it
know
does. You
what.
just have to include that suffix on the
Okay.
end. That's basically it. But I don't know. I think probably if we reprocess this file and then reconvened another time, maybe, we could have the route ID all up to convention. There is another little snag here we should look out for. There is one exception where we do use the left alignment. Okay, in the case of the couplets, the left side of the couplet, that should be part of the route ID because it has to have all the attribution on it. It also counts as certified mileage.
What's the couplet?
Well, there's about I don't know. There's about 16 or 18 of them on the system. They're they're one-way streets, is what they are. A divided highway splits into one-way streets, and there's a left side and a right side, and then in between there's development. There's blocks, businesses. It becomes two separate one-way streets through a city, and then it rejoins. They reconverge back together on the other side of the city. Route 32 in Chico is an example. 108 in Modesto.
Yeah, we get it.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, I'm sure I didn't account for that last year.
Look like
So
my Adam with that file with those listing, so that Adam know which one he needs to include left.
Well, I think probably the best thing to do is just to pass this file on to you guys. I mean, I'm happy to do it, and but is that really a good use of my time?
No.
I'm not sure it is.
Also, it doesn't hurt us to have the secondary carriageways in the routes catalog, because the only
I disagree,
sections,
Brian.
Yeah. Well,
I disagree. I mean, I know, I understand what you're saying because it doesn't actually change the certified mileage or anything like that. But
right.
I think that Quinn and Hip and Aaron understand the disadvantage though too, and the disadvantage is that you're gonna you're liable to create event data, other event data that would invalidate, that you have to account for. You might create event data based on that routes catalog information, and the extent to which you can strip it out from the get-go, the easier it is to manage moving forward. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. And it's an easy thing to remove. The right alignments are the left alignments are very easy to
Sure they are.
to remove. Yeah. So anyhow, okay, what's the next step here? Because obviously we're not going to have this thing ready today. There's some work that needs to happen. And I mean, do you guys have time to deal with the route IDs, or are you asking me to take care of that?
We should deal with them.
Okay. And it sounds like you should also more precisely than I did define what here, I'm going to bring this back. More precisely define this filter so that you're only removing, so that you're how do I put this? You're including the left alignments that are on the sections of road that you mentioned, Brian, right?
Yeah, but I don't know any way to filter that other than naming the routes. I suppose. Well, even that's not going to work because in some places it's a couplet and in other places it's simply a dual carriageway, a divided highway. Yeah, I think they would. I mean, we would have to pick them out by hand or something, and that kind of thing. We'd have to save them that way, or flag them with another, in another column or something.
That won't work
I
because
mean,
one route.
you're getting into attribution now. Okay, item
Yep.
number 3, facility type.
So, I mean, I guess the the fact that I didn't address it last year and it never came up kind of makes me just wonder. Anyhow, I mean, help me out here, guys. Is this a problem you need me to solve or not?
Brian, you think you can handle this file in GIS? Because we need to have it in GIS, not in Excel.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, what happened is maybe Adam will do it in Excel, then he join back to the GIS, and then
That wouldn't work because there's pieces of routes that you want to include.
Yes.
And one route is one record in here.
Yeah. I'm saying when you do the ID, create ID for a route ID, the new route ID, we can do it in Excel, and then we join back, and then that's gonna be faster. I don't know.
Oh yeah, for the route IDs, that's no problem.
But for the couplet that Brian mentioned, probably we can do it manually.
Yeah.
We only 16 or 18 records. Probably look at it and we just manually name it, create a route ID for it.
Okay. So what do you what do you want to do?
Quinn,
are you gonna?
Quinn, when do you want to have this route catalog ready?
I would say on system, I don't really worry about it for now, but then I really need the off system to be uploaded to V8.
So that's the case, then yeah, we can do this, Adam.
Okay.
We can do that. And even hit.
Great. So I'll send you the file.
Yes, please.
And I'm guessing what you're going to have to do in order to get those couplets, you're going to have to do something like, I mean, first of all, if you want to do the couplets, you're going to have to slice them. You're going to have to split the routes at those locations where they decouple.
I'm not sure if the geometry already there or not. If geometry already there.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Yeah, let's look. Good question.
Yeah, let's look at one of those.
Is this Chico about here? Here, let me bring in a map.
Brian, on top of your head, you have any, which route that you have on top of your head, Brian?
I think Brian's having audio issues.
It's like 88.
32.
42.
32.
So Butte City. Help me out here if anybody knows the geography better than I do.
Chico. Wherever
yeah, I'm looking for Chico. All right, well, here's I-5.
99 goes
there we
through
go.
Chico. Got it? There it is.
Yep. Oh, look at that.
Yeah, there you have it. That's
not even included anyway.
Well, let me see. What is that left side of the... Yeah, there you are. You got the right side of the couplet, which is fine. That's the right alignment. But you don't have that left side. The left side would be you know, it would read SHS underbar 032S is what it would be according to our convention.
You know what? I'm going to just recommend that you let it go this year.
That's not a problem. I mean, not having it in the routes catalog, but we have to account for it in the sections catalog because it is part of the certified mileage. We must include the couplets.
All right.
Yeah, there's no real problem with that. If the only real issue is locating something, if that's really all the routes catalog is there for anyway, is to locate, you know, things on the map, then finding the right side of the couplet, you know, it's a no-brainer to find the left side like we've done here.
Yeah. So let's let it go. All we need to do is reformat those route IDs. So you know what? I'll just do that. It won't take me that long. The more I think about it, the more I'd rather do it. If I'm going to train you guys in how to do it, I want to figure out my process to train you in before I just hack at it. Is that okay with you guys?
Okay.
All right. So maybe the best next thing to do would be to work on an off system. Sound good?
Yes.
All right. Let me just save this here. Actually, you know, I'm going to leave this open. Open GeoMedia. All right. This time around, okay, I'm going to make a connection to Oracle on my system. Okay, just for a little context, I'm going to start with just jurisdictions. All right, and I'm going to use our handy-dandy spatial filter, set it to overlap, and use this area as an example. So, and bring in routes. By the way, this is what the database is going to look like for you guys when I deploy the real deal for you, hopefully in January here. So I'm bringing in routes into this area. There they are. So what are some, within the all roads routes. So, okay, we just finished talking about on system and like stuff that we can remove from on system in order to kind of pare it down and only submit, you know, what's necessary. What are some things in all roads that we can and should remove? Anybody? Anybody?
Remove the state highway.
Yep. Okay, what else?
Secondary, no, we still keep it right.
Say again?
DNC segment in
Yeah.
carriageway.
Secondary carriageway, yep.
And this is new to remove the non-public row, non-public row that we are still on.
Oh, yeah, right. Non-public roads. Okay. Anything else?
That's all.
Okay. This is a question that came up last year, and I'm not sure it was ever sufficiently resolved, at least in my mind. Which is, what about highway ramps? And
ramp.
I think
The
we
ramp
want to
should be
keep.
in
I think
on
we want to
system,
keep
right?
ramps. I think we want to keep them. The routes catalog is so that we can find them with the V8. If you bring up a record of a ramp, and if you want to see the geometry on the V8 with the big map imagery, you have to be able to create geometry. So you need to have the ramp as part of the routes catalog.
okay. That's fine, but I mean, just bear in mind, there's no sections data that will link to it.
And actually, any of the sections data, if it's the function class, the number of lanes, the AADT, the county code, whatever, wherever we bring up the ramps in the sections data, where we bring up an attribute, if we want to go and zoom in on it on the map, then we need to have it linked to the routes data. That's what that create geometry function in V8 does, and then that way we can find where it's at.
All right, let me amend what I said. The only sections data that will link to ramps are the functional class data that the CSUs process from the CRS maps. Because nothing else shares those route IDs. Those ramp route
Brian,
IDs.
do we have to input the ADT for the ramps?
Yes, we do have to.
That means you have to include it into the off system.
Yeah, basically you check your field manual, where you have the listing of items, and wherever under extent you see a R, okay, that means that it's required for ramps. And notably, function class is one of them, but so is urban code, and facility type obviously would have to be one of them, because that's how you flag it as a ramp. The number of through lanes and the AADT, those are also required for all ramps.
Yes, let's include it in the file.
Okay. Fine. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is write a little query in GeoMedia that does just this, removes these things from the routes layer. So select from routes, select features from routes where, let's start with route type. You'll get to know this data, these attributes in time. It'll take just a second. Oh, less time than I thought. So I'm going to say not in, do not calibrate, comma, spur off state highway system. Wish I knew what that was saying further down the line.
State highway system.
Oh, right, of course. And if it's a spur off the state highway system, you don't want that either. No, this is okay. Fix that. So we're keeping, basically what we're saying is we're keeping, so
we don't
you want to remove out?
Yeah, because it's private road, isn't it?
Not necessarily.
That's tricky.
Alleys are public maintained roads. Some of them
okay.
That yes and no. I think some alleys.
We just put it in there for conservative.
Yeah, agree.
Seems like the conservative thing to do is to not put it in there, which means we will keep it in the data.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Do not calibrate. Obviously, we got rid of those already. So I think we're good, right?
So
basically what we're doing is we're removing the DNCs and the state highways, and we are keeping, secondary, where carriage flag equals P for primary. Or route type not in those. I think that's right. Let's see.
The secondary carriageways have a carriage flag S, don't they?
That's right. So we're, well, if I change this to not equal
I got
to...
you. No, I understand. I got you.
Okay. I suppose it would be easier to read.
Well, actually, with that or condition in there, you could have a route type that is state highway, and that does not have a carriage flag P, and I think that would be included.
I think you're right. I mean, getting the sequel just
you're
right.
Using or.
Yeah, I know. It gets more confusing that way. I'll just say that I'm not going to claim that I have the sequel just perfect, but the key is that we know what we're aiming for. I will get the sequel perfect, before we deliver the data, but I'm just trying to capture the basics of how to do this. So yeah, you're right. It's going to grab all this stuff. Well, let's just start with this. Route type, not in that. All right, let's go with that. And I'm just going to call this attribute query of routes. And maybe fatten these up just a hair. This is going to be most everything. And let's just take a look at a few of the things that we removed. So basically everything that you see as green are roads we didn't grab. Mostly DNCs looks like. Okay, and you know what I'm going to do, Brian? That I'm sure if I was quicker with my SQL this moment, I could have done in one statement is say, all right, now of attribute query of routes, only show me those where carriage flag equals P. All right. I want to go somewhere where we definitely have a state highway to make sure it removed it. Oh yeah, here we go. So look, we got the ramps, but we removed the state highway. Looks like it stops being a state highway here. Any thoughts, comments, questions?
No.
No? Okay. So I guess the next step would be to just dump this out to a GeoMedia Access Warehouse file, because that's the format that you can in turn actually upload to HPMS and start seeing the errors. So do you guys know how to do that?
To this point, we know how to clean up the file, but I don't know how to format it to make it, work with V8.
Okay, all that V8 requires, if you look at the software guide for V8, it's pretty clear. All it requires is that you have a GeoMedia file, GeoMedia Access Warehouse, and it doesn't, and all of it really cares about is that you have a route ID column, a single route ID column, a begin measure column, and an end measure column. That's all it. That's all it requires, and they don't even have to be named in a specific way, because the columns, I mean, because within the HPMS software, what you do is you tell it which column is which.
Okay. Could you show us the data table?
Sure. If I output this, or is that what you mean? The data table that would, in theory, be uploaded up to HPMS V8?
I mean this one, the query number 2 that you just did.
Sure. So all that V8 is really going to care about, this column, this column, and this column.
Okay. So that case, we can put it in access and we delete those other columns that we don't need, right?
Yep, exactly. And I highly recommend you delete those other columns you don't need, because all they're going to do is slow your upload.
Okay.
I mean, they won't prevent you from uploading, but since you're sending, this huge data set over the internet, like, why include all that, all that extra baggage?
Okay.
And that's all there is to it.
Okay.
Would you like me? I mean, would you like me to export this as an example, or is there anything else I can do to sort of help with the learning process?
I think we're good at this moment.
Okay.
Hey, and Aaron, you guys have any questions?
I would say, so Adam, you wanna see a sample that he will export it, or we don't have to?
I'm happy to export this for you.
I mean, it takes like 2-3 minutes.
No, it'll take more like 20 or 30.
Nah.
To export the table? Wow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can. Well, with the spatial filter, I mean, right now I have a spatial filter on, so it doesn't have the whole state. It has just
Only
this
that.
small area. But I mean, I could export the whole state, or I could just so that you actually have something that's ready for upload, or I could. That would be a huge file, though. It would be hard for me to even get it to you. Or I could just export this small area so that you have an example. Just to like, you know.
I think we are good with it because we can see the video that you did right here and just repeat the process for the entire state.
Okay, yeah, exactly.
So you just do the output to feature class, and then just modify the access table and upload it to V8, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. I would suggest a few things. After you delete the columns that you don't want, be sure to compress and repair the database.
Okay.
And maybe one other thing is you'll see a table within the GeoMedia access file called modification log. Delete all the records in that table before you compress and repair. Because that's also just cruft data that you don't have to send over the wire to HPMS.
Yeah, Adam, one more
thing
regarding the public, non-public role. And right now can you talk, just talk about it a little bit about it? Because right now what we're doing is you add the public data view into the route. And but that one we're not really using that. We will not be using that route, the one that you create for us.
That's right. Yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
So remember that the one that you mentioned to me, you create as a table and you join it to the.
Yep. Yeah, I remember.
And create a dummy route.
Yeah. Oh man, I wish I had thought of that. I'm sorry. Okay, so let me just point out to y'all that there is this additional. Well, okay. So let me just make I want to address what Aaron is talking about, but maybe for the purpose of the video, let me just say that I think we sort of reached the conclusion of what is necessary for the purpose of training in how to generate the route catalog from the Oracle database, and just sort of give it a break and say, okay, now there's this thing, this other thing for the purpose of allowing you guys to define segments of route as either public or non-public road. And let me just show that to you. One moment here. I'm going to turn this to a very light color. Maybe even get rid of the jurisdiction. All right, and I'm going to bring in what's going to look to you in GeoMedia just like a separate layer, another layer, but it's really not another layer, and it's called Routes Catalog. Weird, huh? This is different from routes, so let me just bring this guy in. All right, so routes, the data within the routes layer, so to speak, is all routes in the whole state, regardless of whether, or I should even say all potential routes in the whole state, regardless of whether it's calibrated or not, and regardless of whether it's public or not, and it's a whole bunch of stuff. So I've built what's called a database view within Oracle that in real time reads data from the routes table and filters out stuff that you would want to see in the routes catalog. And it also joins on another table called isPublic. And it's going to give you guys the ability to define individual segments of road as either public or not public. And this is actually, this is what I should have been showing you as what you're going to export from the database, because it already filters out the secondary carriageways. It already filters out the DMCs. What it doesn't filter out are the state highway system roads, and that's because in the future, right, the state highway system roads will in fact come from this database. And just to kind of illustrate a little bit how this works, I just want to show you something. So I'm going to turn off routes catalog. Notice, I want you to notice the way that the routes catalog looks in blue on this segment. Okay, now I'm going to turn it off, and you'll see it's identical to what's beneath it. Can you see this line here? Mm-hmm. Gray line. Okay. I'm going to edit it. If I can remember how to edit. Okay. All right. See, I just made a change to the geometry. All right. And I'm going to turn this back on and then refresh my connection to the Oracle database. And you'll see the blue line will follow the edit that I just did back in routes. So I'm going to close, open, and voila. So what's going on is that routes catalog, the routes catalog layer is really just a query. That's being run underneath the hood within Oracle. So kind of unbeknownst to GeoMedia. So all I've done is edit the geometry in the underlying table. It's feeding this this database view that's being served to Oracle as if it's a table. So the value of that is that as the GIS unit goes and makes corrections, edits the geometry of routes, you will see all of those edits within your routes catalog layer. Now I'm going to change it back to correct it the way it should be here. Aaron, I feel like I could do a better job of explaining the significance of this. Do you mind taking a swing at it?
My intention was, remember you explained you have created each table. Is public table is a table. It's not as the actual data view in the route catalog or in the route layer. And how we right now what we've been fixing or revising is public. We're using the file that you sent to us.
Yeah.
Same one. But how do we transfer that information from what we have in here to the one that needs to we should be working on, and where we do the filter and create a route catalog and submit to V8?
So
and also you mentioned,
yeah. So the link is this, the record ID. So in the process of setting stuff to isPublic, or in the process of setting your isPublic flag, what you're not doing is changing any record IDs, and you're not deleting any rows, and you're not adding any rows. You're just changing the isPublic value for rows that are already there. So when you give me back that database you have, like the database you have in our editing came from here. So what that means is I can join the data you've been working on to here using this record. I'm sorry, using this value, this column. And I'll use that to say, okay, instead of, I'm going to say, okay, great, of the data that Aaron has sent back to me, update the is public value based on what he said it is, not based on what it used to be. And the computer will just do that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Right now.
I think what Aaron's saying is that how we're gonna change from the true value to the false value, if it's public or non-public.
Oh, just like this.
I think we change the true and false, but how we make that change from our file, from the file that he's working on, the file that I'm working on, because right now we're working on a different on two different files, or Quinn working on another different route file. Is it correct?
I think we can just use access and search for it.
And we just combine it and then send it back to Adam, and so he can make
okay.
an update in here. Because right now it's public. We already fixed revised a couple counties that reflect on public, and so how we make that change it back into the system.
How's it going to get back into Oracle?
Yeah, I think he talked about Oracle.
I mean,
you give me the data, and I'll write a query to apply your data to the Oracle database.
Okay. And so that when it's done, we get it to Adam, right?
Yeah. I think we're gonna send back to Adam with the access file, right, Adam? Yeah.
And
that's what we have.
And then,
yeah, that's right.
Okay. Good. So Quinn also mentioned how we change that is public, the way that we change the true and false. That Quinn mentioned earlier. Quinn?
I think Jimmy would do the job, but you just update the table.
Yeah. So that's why I didn't ask that. God, do a combination of manual adjustment as well as the automatic way, right? Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't remember you and I were talking about changing the true false, but the segment limit of the route within or segment in the route layer and shapefile from the are different.
Hey, Aaron, there's you have like a delay going on with your voice. It's making it hard for me to understand you.
Okay, can you hear me clearly? Is it better now?
Yeah, it is way better. Thanks.
Okay. Speaker maybe too far.
Okay.
Remember, you and I would talk when we started this task, and you and I were talking about the segment limit between the route and the shapefile from the county. There are different limits in how we tackle that problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned we should do a manual adjustment, a manual update, and based on our educated engineering judgment, we decided to whether it's even though the segment limit they're different, but you did not suggest to break around and keep the
that's not a suggestion. That's not a suggestion. You can't do that. It's not an option. You can't break a route because that's.
Well, Quinn mentioned we can break it route and then take a snapshot of CSU deliverable, break it round, and rerun the LS measure.
I take a look at the file that the county from Humboldt County that compared with the geometry from our route, and I realized some of the segment from our route either shorter or longer than the segment from the county. But then when I look deeper into it using the Bing map, look like every segment that is say private in the county, that means the whole segment is also private. So I think when I do a field check and I see like most of them when I say private, the whole segment turn to be private. So, but I'm gonna look more into it to see if it's really the case. If it's really the case, I think we should assume that everything that match up, if it say private, we should assume our route is also private.
I like it.
Yes.
I mean, that makes perfect sense to me, Quinn.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just say that given this approach that we're taking, where you're assigning an entire segment as private or not private, like you really do not have the option to break it,
Right?
To break the route.
Mm-hmm.
And if you find that it is absolutely necessary to start breaking routes, then we need to reconsider the entire approach.
Yeah, that would be, yeah.
Yeah, it's been very complicated.
Yeah, so that's why,
Yeah.
you know, Quinn, that I tried to relate that to Quinn and Hip the other day. I mean, the concept, we can have that concept, but, you know, actual work that's more complicated than we think.
Yeah.
But look like the way that Hip been doing, I think look like we're doing fine.
Awesome. That's great to hear.
I mean, we're not doing manual adjustment, manual update for every single segment. I think we combine the buffer approach that you taught us, that you show us, and some manual adjustment. Is that correct, Hep? Okay. I mean,
yeah, that
the approach is not perfect, but you know we can get things done. I mean, some of the unpublished, non-published role.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think anybody expects it to be perfect. It's you know, federal data, for crying out loud. And I'm sure you guys are doing a great job.
Okay.
So
a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, you know, by the HIP process, he create a center point of the private segment, and then he create a buffer zone. It's about like 0.01 mile. Okay. What do you think about the tolerance?
So a buffer zone of 1 mile?
No. So it's like 50 feet.
50 feet? Sure. I mean, well, okay. This is my. I'm not an engineer, but I worked in a public works department for a while, and I know that typical right-of-way is 60 feet across, which means the center line. It's 30 feet to either side of the street from the center line. I think I'd go with 60, maybe 61, just to kind of, you know, search a little further.
Okay. Cool.
Just a quick question. So, Adam, since you had the experience with GeoMedia, so have you used the bin maps in GeoMedia before?
Yeah, it's useless. It's not nearly as good as ArcGIS in that regard.
Okay. Is there any way that we can put the like Google Maps something underneath of our route?
You know, honestly,
verify
this is what I would do, and you may hate me for saying it, but what I would do is use FME to push the data into a ESRI geodatabase. So into like an ESRI file or personal geodatabase, and use ESRI and use ArcGIS with a base map underneath it. All that really matters is that you preserve that record ID.
Yeah, I do have that. I do have that in GeoDatabase. It's using FME export the route to ESRI file in. You know, but one thing is in ESRI, because too many records. Too many records in the in the route. When you export the route from GeoMedia to ESRI file, too many records, and then it's very difficult to move the window to zoom in and zoom out.
Yeah, you don't pick your poison.
I mean, unless we have to break it down by county again or district and move around in order to see to bring in the Google map. But otherwise, you know, if you look at the entire state, that's really impossible. Zoom in and out, move around.
You know, I mean, look, all I care about in terms, I mean, what matters is that what you give back to me from this effort includes that record ID and a clear indication of whether each individual record should be true or false.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hey.
That's all. I mean, yeah. So, there's advantages and disadvantages to both softwares. That's all I can say.
Hey, Quinn, I have that the entire Arnold network exported to ESRI geodatabase. I can save in C drive, and if you want, you can use that one.
You know what would speed? Huh? Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to suggest to speed things up. I have found that shapefiles or file geodatabases that are created literally like with ESRI software rather than with GeoMedia, for example, they perform better. And I'm pretty sure the reason for that is that ESRI does something to purposely slow it down when other softwares are creating those files. So that's just sort of a subjective trick that I've learned from experience. And another thing is this: you said that you're storing your file geodatabase on a networked drive somewhere.
I think that's.
I know that. Slow down. Your network may be the slowdown in that case. In which case, it makes sense if you can to store it on directly on your machine.
Yeah, I see. Right. Okay. Yeah, that could be a reason.
Anything else?
No, I'm good. Hibbing,
okay.
Aaron, you guys have any questions?
No.
Nope, I don't have anything else.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll send you an email if we have any questions.
Okay. Are there any action items for me as far as processing on-system or off-system data? I suppose you need that on-system shapefile, right?
Yes, I need the off-system as well.
Hey,
we can start to work on the off-system.
Okay.
And I think we can handle the off-system, but not the on-system. I still don't know what to do with the on-system.
I think Aaron can give a hand on it.
The on-system, all we have to do is create a route ID. That with the route ID that we use in a section data, or the way that is in the geometry in the route layer, and we can handle that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that all we have to need to do? The on-system?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe so.
Okay.
It is. Let's just say yes. That's all you have to do.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Well, one more thing is in terms of the sequence of work for the off system, we have to finish the public, identify public and private road, and we.
That's right.
We send it over to Adam, and then Adam can work with filter out, and non-public and some other stuff that they have to do in order to create a route catalog, the final route catalog, right?
Yes, yes and no. So you're right, Aaron, from the perspective of to finalize it, we have to do that. But there is progress we can make on a parallel path, which is this. If we upload the off-system stuff to the off, regardless if it is public or just disregarding that, we can upload everything we have and just see what errors come back, so that we can start thinking about correcting other issues.
Yes, and I can afford to wait as well because I have the I have to do the query. So
is there an action item for me on the off system side? So I'll just say my action item on the on system is to send you the on system file, and I'll send it to you. I'll send you the one that excludes the alignment left stuff. So that's my action item there. And is there anything I need to do on the off system side?
I think we're okay with the off system.
Okay. Great.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Hey, you're welcome. All right. You're welcome.
Oh, by the way,
if anything comes up.
Would you please upload the record of the video record, please?
Absolutely, will do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, take care, guys.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
All right. Bye.